In 2014, I noticed a small lump in my right breast, and because we have had a lot of cancer in our family, I was straight onto it. I went to the Women's Diagnostic Centre at Sunnybank. They did a mammogram and said that there was a cyst there and there was some dense breast tissue and everything was fine. So that was great. Then 2 years later, I went through breast screen and that was clear also. So in early June 2018, I was having a shower. I looked down and went, where is my nipple? It was inverted. And so I promptly got on to my doctor. Every time I took my shirt off and they looked at me, it was that look on their face, oh my God, this is cancer. So I went back to the Women's Diagnostic Centre at Sunnybank. They did a mammogram and then a doctor came in to see me and he said, we'd like to do another mammogram. We'd also like to do an ultrasound and we want to do some biopsies. We'll need you to sign the paperwork. So I thought that was all fair enough. Did all that. The mammogram on that day said no suspicious mass, no definite change from the mammogram of 2014. So it was not obvious on the mammogram. So it had been bubbling away there for 4 years. It was, however, there. It was found on the ultrasound. They did 6 biopsies. It was invasive carcinoma. They also found that it was in my lymph nodes at that point. So by the time I found out that I had HER2 breast cancer, I'd already had a double mastectomy and my lymph clearance. So it was on my pathology report. At that point in time, I'd seen the pamphlets in the hospital, and I can remember thinking, oh, I hope I don't have triple positive or HER2 breast cancer. Yeah, and I did. So the pathology report pretty much gives you your treatment plan. The doctor, when I went to them after they've done the punch biopsies on the lymph nodes, he said to me, how attached to your breasts are you? And at that stage I thought that I didn't really have much choice. So I said, just get rid of them, do what you have to do. I'm cancer free, 4 years, 4 months, yes, awaiting breast reconstruction. Yes, up until 5 years. At my 4-year consultation, they did a CT scan and a bone scan, which was clear. So at Robina, they did the surgery first, believing that that was the best option. Once they had the pathology report, then a group of doctors, I believe it would be the radiation specialist, the oncologist and the surgeon, they have a team that gets together and they decide on the plan. Obviously with mine, they were going to hit it with everything. So that was AC chemo, paclitaxel, radiation and a year of Herceptin. I was that little lady that was caught in the headlights going, I don't really know, but whatever you think is the right thing to do, I just want to be cured. So I just listened and took on their advice I think in the next question, you ask about what discussions I had with family. I've got a daughter who's a nurse, and she said, "Mum, please just do everything you possibly can. I've got grandchildren, a supportive husband, a good network around me." She just didn't want me to try and cut corners or do anything holistic or anything like that. So I did. As I say, we've got a lot of cancer in our family. So yeah, I wanted to do everything mainstream. Yep. I'm a horsewoman. All I wanted to do was ride my horse, and that stopped for 2 years. There was a lot of complications from chemotherapy and radiation and all those sorts of things. There's always such a lot of side effects from all this treatment. There's a lot of permanent damage. Your life is never going to be the same. But I made a huge effort to record everything that I possibly could, blood tests, reports. I would go to lots of specialists. I would find out what I could do for myself. I was my own advocate because I'm a horse person. All I want to do is get back on my horse. I have a lot of issues, which I am really managing really well now, to the point that the neurosurgeon said I can do low impact riding now. I've been doing carriage driving for the last 2 years because it doesn't hurt my back. I also am on a lot of drugs. I've got a really good neurologist who has been my advocate. One stage there, I had a migraine that lasted from the 31st of July to the 10th of October, and I was hospitalised 3 times. I've had hemiplegic migraines. This is all a result of chemotherapy, by the way. I had my first migraine 4 months after I finished chemo, and I've never had one in my life before. But the first hemiplegic one I had was like a stroke, and I lost full control of the right side of my body, and I just fell. Spent several days in hospital, and they found a few other things wrong with me, like a blockage in my neck and some ischemic lesions in my brain. And yep, good old horse woman just gets up, keeps on going. So I'm getting carried away now. But anyway, I've been my own advocate and made sure that I've documented everything. A lot of these side effects, including some fractures on my back from osteoporosis, which can happen with the chemo, has been difficult to deal with. And obviously I wasn't able to go back to work, and I ended up on disability. So being your own advocate and documenting everything, making sure it's fully diagnosed, fully treated, doing the best you can to get back out there and live every day to the best of your ability. Yeah, I show them photos of my horses all the time. This is what I want to do. One of the things I do for the Gold Coast ladies is I take stage 4 cancer patients out on my horse carriage. Took a lady out yesterday. It's sometimes a bucket list thing. It's something I can give back. I think I've been a volunteer all my life, so I always like to do something and give something back. Be part of a group down there, the Gold Coast Women's Cancer Group is very supportive down there. They do lots of things. Not in my case. It would be if I went stage 4. Just with the experience of paclitaxel giving me peripheral neuropathy, losing my balance and having some falls, that would be something that I'd be very wary of, and losing my independence, that would be something that I'd really be concerned about. I think I probably take more time to think about things now, and I do a lot more research on the pros and cons. Yeah, once upon a time I would have, as I said, I was just like caught in the headlights and say, okay, we'll just do this. But I think at this point in time, I'd think long and hard about everything now. Well, the cancer treatment was surgery, AC chemo, paclitaxel, radiation, and Herceptin. I have had physiotherapy because I had a fracture at L3 in my back. I don't think there's any. Oh yes, I had appointments with a lady who does lymphedema. I'm pretty lucky. I had 23 lymph nodes taken out, and I haven't had full-blown lymphedema. But as I said, I'm a horse person, so I'm pretty active, and always have my arms above my head and doing things. But I did have some swelling and some unusual things happen last summer, so I just need to keep a watch over that one. Just the constant surveillance and the follow-up. So I'm on Prolia, and we check my vitamin D and calcium levels for that. You probably need, anyone that's having chemo needs to have their bone density checked. Make sure they don't have any fractures. It's quite common if you're doing any high impact exercise, you can end up with fractures or damage to your bones, so that needs to be checked. If the cancer had come back, I wouldn't be doing this. I wouldn't be taking people out on the carriage. I wouldn't be able to give something back. I feel the best I have done in a very long time. It's taken a lot of work mentally and physically to get to this point. Yeah. I think anything written down that I can go and research. As I said, I keep all my reports, blood reports, any results of CT scans, all those sorts of things, so I can go and do my own research. These days we have a lot of registrars. You're not always seeing the same person. Even with your doctors, they seem to be changing all the time. I think if you keep everything together and you be your own advocate, I think that's really important. Probably it was after about 6 to 12 months. Yeah, I think everything happens so fast. I mean, once you've been diagnosed and you know your cancer type, I think then you've got your little pathology report, you can at least do some research on that, and you're given some more information about that. But not until you're 6 months out, 12 months out, do you really sort of have time to think about things. Well, as I said before, like we have a lot of registrars, not so much with the oncologist. I had fairly regular communication with him, but when you've got different registrars and different doctors, sometimes you'll get conflicting information, particularly when things were going wrong. I found the oncologist I had at the Gold Coast Hospital, he was really good at navigating the system down there and getting things done for me. Whereas if you got the registrar, things would move a lot slower. So, and I think they've got a really hard job there in the public system, because I don't think they're allowed enough time with each patient. I had to pay for the biopsies and those sorts of things. There was some CT scans and things that I had to pay for, but the rest of it was done through the public hospital, which was rather fortunate because I know they are very expensive, and I know there's huge gaps through the private system. I think your mental attitude is just as important as all the treatments. It's a struggle every day. You're left with the side effects, and a lot of people have PTSD from it. A good friend of mine's just been through lymphoma cancer. And he said, oh, look, everyone looks at me and thinks, oh, you're over it now, you're cured. And he said, I talked to my doctor, and the doctor said, I've got PTSD. And I said, well, Tony, you can't, you might have to edit that bit out. I said, you can't, you would be reminded every day that you find difficulty in walking. You move slower, you get brain fog, your hands are numb, you can't do the things that you used to be doing all the time. And I said, for me, I can't walk on uneven ground, I can't buy a dress because with the low front because I have no boobs. My feet are numb, I get pins and needles, my back aches if I stand too long. If I put my head down, I fall over. So you are reminded of it all the time. So life is never going to be the same. We're always going to be living with, I'm a breast cancer survivor, or I'm a cancer survivor.
Okay. Do you do anything particularly to try to look after that? Do you consult with anyone? Do you just do like mindfulness?
There is a lot of help through the public health system. There are psychologists that deal with even stage 4 patients as well. I think you need lots of support around you. You do need somebody to speak to, even through your own GP. They have care packages there that you can go and see somebody for 6 times. You need to take advantage of those things. You cannot get through this on your own. You do need to talk about it. It is ongoing. For me, I have a lot of support around me, but I also have my horses. Absolutely, there's been a huge cult. I don't tolerate anyone that saps my energy or strength. So in the Gold Coast, we have no McGrath nurses. On the Sunshine Coast, the population is about 50% of ours on the Gold Coast, and they have 5. We desperately need more breast care nurses to help us with this, navigating it, just keeping up the communication. I've had to try and push through to get my breast reconstruction. I wasn't deemed financially viable to get a breast reconstruction because I was advanced cancer, and anyone that's stage 4, it's not offered to. I had to be free of cancer for 2 years before they would put me up for an appointment. That appointment took 18 months, and so I'm now on the wait list, category 3. It's due before the 23rd of December, but I haven't heard anything as yet. So we need somebody to fill that gap. I mean, once you've finished your cancer treatment, the follow-up, there's no one to help with that situation. There's no one to talk to. I know that there were several times that I had seromas that needed draining. Trying to talk to a doctor it's just not possible. So you need that breast care nurse, and just getting an answering machine is just not good enough. And I mean, I am terribly grateful that I'm alive, and I'm terribly grateful that I've had all this treatment. And I know that everyone's under the pump and there's so much work to be done, but that's just one area that we need help with. It's just mainly the breast care nurses. That's what I would like to see. And I know that the doctors do not have enough time to see the patients. We really are under the pump there. And I do know that we've got a fantastic system here, and things have greatly improved in the last 10 years. But we're saving more people. But they're living with the side effects, and we need to do something about that. So we need to do more research, and we need to diagnose people earlier. Yeah, knowing what I know now, I wish I'd got punch biopsy in 2014. We just have to keep doing the research. We have to keep getting the message out there that people need to be their own advocate. They need to get diagnosed. They need to get their checks. Men still need to get their checks as well. Yeah, just keep getting the message out there.